Hey everyone, David C. Anderson here coming at you from the Knife Center, and while it seems like everything is getting more expensive these days, there's still some good deals to be found out there. And these are some of the best bargains in the knife world you can get right now. So, you may have noticed that a lot of things are increasing in price lately. Whether you're talking about inflation or the cost of materials, availability of materials, that sort of thing. It's definitely starting to show up in the knife world. But if you're one of those people, the knives on the table here can help you be sure you're getting the most for your money. Because a lot of these exclusive projects, the way things tend to work and the time frames for getting these projects done, we may have locked in prices that are lower than what they would be if the project was generated today. And as such, you're kind of paying yesterday's prices on these great knives today. And if that sounds a little sales pitchy, I apologize, but if you are looking for a knife bargain right now, here are some good places to look. The ones I'm going to start with might be the best bargains in the whole video. Maybe I should have put them at the end to make you watch to the end, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to force you to do that if you don't want. And it's a series, it's 4 different knife series that are using S35VN steel and are less than $100, sometimes significantly less. So you're getting super premium steel, well, at least super premium at that price range, and very good build quality with it. And we're gonna start with probably the best deal on our website, the best bargain, I should say, on our website right now. The S35VN QSP Penguin. It comes in $65. But this is the least expensive S35VN knife on the site right now, and you really do get a lot for your money. Premium particle metallurgy steel, just over 3 inches, very strong sheep's foot profile here. Even though this is a kind of small knife, this has powerful cuts baked into its DNA and precise scoring with that tip as well. But the handles are orange and black coral G10. You've got a deep carry pocket clip, which can be reversed. Liner lock and a washer-based pivot. Good for keeping the dust at bay, the dust gremlins. Still great action. Very good fit and finish. You know, QSP, they stand for quality, service, price. That's what they've always kind of, aimed their core product lineup towards. And even the base models coming in around $30 of this are fantastic bargains. But come on, least expensive S35VN knife you can get right now is a pretty good thing as well. All right, this next knife is the Boker Kaizen, also with S35VN steel. And in between the QSP and this Boker, there are a couple of other S35VN knives, but they're either significantly or decidedly mini knives or non-lockers, sometimes both of those together. Excluding those, if you want something with a lock, this is the second least expensive option with a premium S35VN steel like this. $74 and some change for this coyote tan with satin blade. Very kind of clean look going on. This would make a decent gentlemanly option as well, thanks to its svelte executive profile. The Coyote Tan G10 will dye a nice, take dye really nicely if you want to mix things up, kind of make it your own, you can do that. We've got a liner lock. We've got a blade that disappears except for just a hint of that flipper wheel on the back. Looks very subtle, but it actually is very easy to use. Your finger catches on there quite nicely. We've got a deep carry pocket clip, which is non-reversible in this case, and the nice butt plate there at the back. Nice touch on the clip. It is milled and inset into the handle with flush mounted screws, so it's a very easy thing in and out of the pocket when you want. Ball bearings on the flipper action for this aids that flipping action I talked about a little bit earlier. Overall, just really nice. If you like the knife, but you want a little more kind of pizzazz out of the box, you can, for about $5 more, get the brown G10 with the black coated S35VN blade as well. Just over 3 inches on these, like 3.1. It's a good length. You've got a good slicey profile, very thin, full flat grind, very agile shape overall. Fantastic. Next up, we've got our exclusive Badlands Vagabond with S35VN steel, and at around $40, the 9CR simple stainless steel base model is probably my favorite budget knife out there right now. I think it's a fantastic design. It's got great lines. It's got a very useful shape and size to it. And with S35, it comes in just under $80 right now. And it's a full-featured knife. You've got white handles here. Again, we did a dyeing video on those recently that turned out really good. Excellent grip. You've got a subtle and sophisticated contour to the shape, which you don't often see on G10 knives a lot of times, especially in CIVIVI's lineup. We've got that deep carry pocket clip. You can reverse it in this case. Hidden lanyard attachment point at the back. Liner lock, ball bearings, ceramic ball bearings, in fact, I believe, and a very thin, very flippable S35VN blade. A little bit thinner than the standard version. You've got a high hollow grind and a very thin edge. This is also, despite being significantly wider than the Kaizen we just looked at, the slicing performance on this is still absolutely phenomenal. Between the blade and the handle, you've got a very nimble, agile handling knife, very satisfying to operate. In addition to the flipper, you've got the thumb studs. Lets you pop that open quite nicely and get to cutting. Next up is the Bestech Swordfish with S35 steel, 4-inch blade, $90, whether you go with satin or a black coated version. You can get either one. And this honestly offers a ton of knife for the money, ton of reach with that blade, ton of power as well. You've got G10 handles, 2-piece on each side, white and then with black G10 bolsters. There's a bit of contour, which helps it feel very comfortable and locked into the hand, despite not being a very wide knife or a very wide handle. Upside of that, it's going to carry pretty easily in the pocket. It doesn't take up a lot of space width-wise, so it's very easy to integrate this into your EDC. Deep carry pocket clip, single-sided, ball bearings in the pivot, liner lock, great flipping action, great profile, flat ground blade, full-length swedge essentially, aids a little bit in kind of knocking off the resistance of the spine there if you're moving around a corner, any kind of curved cut. Overall, just a fantastic deal. These next knives don't have S35VN steel, but I'm going to show you a few more sub-$100 knives. First one's a $50 knife that I think is a good deal, the BK40D2. Right now, only $5 more than the standard AUS 8 version, so you get a significant bump up in edge retention between those two models for just $5 more. We've got a 3.5-inch blade. It's kind of a clip-pointed sodbuster style, if you know what I'm talking about. Plenty of belly here, bit thicker for a bit more kind of robust uses than your old school sodbuster slip joint would typically be employed in. Enough belly for hunting, a nice geometry overall for any kinds of outdoor uses, maybe even some tactical stuff if you're looking for something on a budget. But to me, this is more about just general purpose, loafing around, doing big work in the woods or around the house. The handles are very comfortable. It's gray GFN in this case. And then I've kind of talked about this in some other videos. The advantage of injection molding on some lower end or lower priced stuff is you can get more sophistication in the handle shape because it's not being milled like G10 might be. And you can see that evident here in the contouring of this handle, and that helps it really feel excellent in the hand. 4-position wire pocket clip, liner lock, good flicking action despite its washer construction, no ball bearings right there, again, fit for purpose for its hard use mission. Next up, kind of a big contrast mission-wise to the Becker, we have the Boker LRF, a Kansei Matsuno design with a 3-inch VG10 stainless steel blade for $60, just under that $60 price point. Very, very good deal right there. And apart from the materials being nice for this price point, some of the kind of premium manufacturing touches you get on this are also very nice for the price. 3-inch spear point blade, nice horizontal grain, which you don't often see on production folders at any price point, much less this affordable. And we've also got a nice crown spine to keep things nice and classy. Looks really good, makes it very comfortable, and just is, again, more of a luxury touch most of the time. The handles are resin. It's kind of a faux ivory. Kind of elevates this to definitely a bit of pocket jewelry, besides just being a very utilitarian thing as well. Deep carry pocket clip. There is a leather thong at the back to aid in getting it out of the pocket, but you could take that off if you want to be more subtle. Single-sided on the pocket clip here, but like the Kaizen we looked at earlier, it's inset with flush screws, so very accommodating when you're going in and out of the pocket. Two opening options on this too. You've got two little tabs at the top. You can use it as a front flipper if you like, or use the back one as a conventional flipper. Very cool to fidget with. It feels great. Ball bearings in the pivot on this knife as well. Next up, for about $75, you can get another particle steel knife, the Swayback from Kizer with a 4V blade steel. Not a stainless steel like S35 is, but it is a tougher steel than S35 is. And some people say, oh, why do you bother with a tough steel on the folder or on a folder? Shouldn't you put that on some bigger fixed blades? Well, the advantage is going to come in on the edge itself. The tougher a steel is, the more acute you might be able to make that edge itself, which will make the knife feel sharper, and you'll run less risk of it kind of rolling or even chipping if you're dealing with something with more toughness and more edge stability in particular. 4V is a great folding knife steel, I think. Very traditional Wharncliffe blade right here. We've got a full flat grind with a stone washed finish. Very precise tip work can be accomplished with this thanks to that almost needle-like point, and nice, precise, powerful cuts with that straight edge as well. It stays out of the way when you don't need it, and when you're ready to close the knife, you can flick it closed real easily. Flick it back open with that flipper tab. Ball bearings here, as you could probably have guessed, based on its closing action right there. And you can even push the button down and wrist flick it open too. All right, next we've got a series of knives that the value of them really kind of come into focus when you compare it to the next least expensive version of this knife that is available. And the first is the Fox Suru. We've got the golf ball handled G10 and carbon fiber versions of this knife right now. Gives it a unique texture for the front, and compared to the next least expensive version of this knife, which comes with an aluminum handle, that's about $184. This knife right here, $99.95. It's a $100 knife right now. That is a very good deal. Made in Italy, you've got a sub 2.5-inch blade with N690 steel. Fairly robust, so even though you're dealing with something with a small size, it's no shrinking violet. We've got a frame lock on the back and a wire pocket clip for a fairly deep carry, I would say. And ball bearings in the pivot with two opening methods. You've got the thumb hole and the flipper tab, both work well. And this is one of those designs where the whole handle plus the finger choil on the blade is what's designed to provide the grip for you. If you're holding behind the flipper tab, it's kind of a 3-finger grip, which is adequate for most things, but if you want even more precision or maybe even a little more brute force, but be careful because the edge does come all the way through that finger choil, you can choke up with that index finger for that additional grip option. All right, next up we have the Centauri from ArtisanCutlery. This is a liner locking version of the knife. Now the frame locking version of this knife, whether you're dealing with the VG10 Damascus or S35VN blade steel, those come in about $200. This version that comes with the liner lock in both a large with a 3.5-inch blade or a roughly 3-inch small version. We have several different exclusive variants on the website, but we're actually working on discontinuing these. So if you've been thinking about one of these, don't wait too long, and the price on all of them sits right at $100. So it's half price of the frame locking versions without sacrificing on steel quality. We still have an S35VN blade on these knives. Well, we've got a few versions as mentioned. This one right here is the red and black linen micarta handle with a black coated blade. We've also got a denim micarta with a stone-washed blade, orange and black G10 with a satin blade, and a packawood handle version. That one actually does come with the VG10 Damascus. So again, the same stuff you can get on the frame lock version if you spend twice as much for them. But I really like this knife. It has a very accommodating handle. There's no finger guard to get in the way, and there's enough length on this version that all 4 of my fingers fit on there quite easily, despite my slightly larger than average hands. And then you've got an awesome blade shape. You can kind of think of it, or I've always kind of thought of it as sort of a beefed up and upsized Kershaw Leek in a way. You've got a very similar style of plenty of reach, plenty of acute tip capability, and just a slight amount of belly to the edge, making it a little more versatile than a complete straight edge perhaps, and just very fun to use day to day. This is a liner locking knife. You can see we've got the inset liner right there. We've also got a nice milled pocket clip. This one is black to match the rest of the hardware. Ball bearings in the pivot, and this is a front flipping knife. And it works pretty darn well, even if you normally have a little bit of trouble with that style, as I sometimes do. But it's no problem right here. And I've even seen, we'll see if we can get a picture of it here, or some footage maybe to inset. One of our customer service guys upstairs actually took one of these versions, one of the versions of this knife, and added a quick stud to it to give thumb opening capability, and actually looked really cool. All right, next up is the Benchmade Griptilian. We've got two versions of this knife, a satin and a black Cerakoted blade. So we'll talk about the satin version here for just a second. It's got the same injection molded handle as the base version, although the custom red color here comes into play. And again, when you're dealing with injection molding, you can get a very complex handle, and this has always been kind of the poster boy for that. It is accommodating, it feels very good. It works with all kinds of different hand sizes thanks to its neutral kind of teardrop shape. But these versions come with an upgraded 20 CV blade steel versus the S30V of the standard versions. And the price jump is not astronomical either. Standard versions are like $126. The satin version of this exclusive right here, $150, and $10 more will get you the black coated version right here. But no matter which version you get, the blade shape works great, just about 3.5 inches with this drop point, kind of a flat saber grind on these. So it's not the sliciest knife out there, but it is incredibly well-rounded. Whether you're using it as an EDC or as an outdoor knife or even a tactical knife, covers all the bases quite admirably. It's also a completely ambidextrous design thanks to the dual thumb studs, the reversible pocket clip, and of course the axis lock, which allows you to do those wrist flick motions, as well as be a little more subtle if you don't want to be too flashy. In that case, go with the black one to keep the flash down, shall we say. Next, we'll get to a couple of nice utilitarian blade shapes again. The S30V bladed Yojimbo 2 is a knife that comes in about $170, $150. This exclusive version right here comes with a Cru-Wear blade and is actually less expensive, $169.95. So you've got, what I would argue on this knife in particular is a definite upgrade, but you're actually spending less than the base model. We'll get to that blade in a minute. The handle is a smooth black G10, not as kind of aggressively textured as the standard version. As such, it's more comfortable to utilize. Now, apart from the texture, the shape of this handle is designed by Michael Janich, the designer of this knife, very much to be kind of a close quarters self-defense design, but it's still something that's going to work well for everyday carry. And plenty of people use this as their everyday knife. The finger grooves add a little bit of retention from forward or rear slippage, as well as some control surfaces for manipulating with your fingertips. You've got a 4-position pocket clip, so you can carry it wherever you like, and you've got that compression lock that allows you to do those centrifugal things, and importantly, it's a finger-safe design as well, which I always appreciate. Keeps your fingers out of that cutting path when you're closing the blade. Good passive safety measure right there. Now, the reason I would argue that Cru-Wear is definitely a better option for this blade in particular comes down to the edge itself. This is a hollow ground knife with a pretty darn thin edge and a very acute tip. I mean, look at how narrow and needle-like that tip is. That's where the extra toughness you get from Cru-Wear is going to be a great advantage, because there's less steel supporting the edge itself, so that extra toughness will let you push it a little bit harder without sacrificing that very thin cutting geometry and acute piercing capability right there. Very, very cool thing indeed. Last but not least, we need a big chunky knife to close things out. The ArtisanCutlery Proponent. This exclusive version comes in just under $190 with an M390 blade and the titanium frame lock for the handle. Not a cheap knife. These last few have not been cheap knives, don't get me wrong, but again, The bargain part of these comes into play when you compare it to the other knives in the series. For more money, you could get this knife with S35VN, so less edge retention, albeit with more toughness than the M390, and a milled titanium handle. Keeping the price down here, there is less milling. It's more of a nice big chunky slab to hold on to, with more premium steel for less money in the lineup. Like I said, $190 versus about $213 for those other versions. But there's definitely plenty of handle to grip on this knife. It feels super solid. And you heard my giggle right there. That's kind of one of the things that you smile about when you pick up this knife. It's just like, oh yeah, this is cool. The action on it is surprisingly good for such a thick, chunky blade, whether you are using those thumb studs or the flipper tab. Not as quick and snappy as some lighter things, but it has a very solid feel when it moves around. Not quite sure what else to say. I mean, if you're not interested in this type of knife, nothing about what I'm going to say is going to convince you. But if this is the type of knife that you look at and go, yeah, then come on. Do I really need to say any more at this point? Check it out. It's a good deal, and it is built well and feels absolutely fantastic. All right, I hope this video helps you out right now if you're considering a knife purchase and you want to make sure you're not throwing good money after bad. These are great options right now. Times are tough, and if it's not the right time for you to buy a knife, by all means, do not buy a knife right now. But if you are looking, again, hope this helps. If you want to get your hands on any of them, check the links in the description. Those will take you to KnifeCenter.com. And always remember, we've got our Knife Rewards program, so that when you're buying one of these knives today, you'll get to earn some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, signing off. See you next time.